Hello and welcome back to Mars. I'm Mick. We're playing Stationeers. As we see Larry going around the garden, I just think it's really cool the differences you got the Larrys here at the moment. The gardening one has the shovel and the fork on it there to do the gardening. There's nice little touches in the artwork there for it all, which is pretty good. But anyway, we had an update. We have some your plants and stuff there, which is actually all available in seeds now. Darker Ferns now has seeds. The Winter Spawn have seeds. The Hades plants, although I've never actually found a use for them, but they have seeds. And we've got some new plants too. We've got strawberries, blueberries and watermelons, which I haven't grown yet. Now they do give you a bit of mood bonus for eating them, but strawberries are awesome, so hey, we wouldn't be happy about having them. But anyway, that's not what we're here for today. We are going to use LArRE. We're going to not be gardening, we're going to be changing out the filters. So we best go over and do that, I guess. Right, so let's head out the back. I've set up a filter system. Suit up. I've set up a filter system out the back, and we are going to have a bit of a... Oops, close your helmet, stupid. Follow the instructions. Now I've got a setup out here. I'll put LArRE out here as well, and we're going to have it look after our leaky filters. It's night time, so we're liquefying carbon dioxide there, which is not really helpful, but it's just good enough. These are volatiles. Well, there's no volatiles. We're sucking gas in from the outside. So volatiles, of course, are not... I thought they were still using the filters, even if they're not actually collecting anything. Looks like they're not. If there's nothing there, but it's set up. It's set up. I will want to collect for hydrogen at one point there, so but I'm just collecting from the atmosphere at the moment, just for the sake of it. Oh, we have managed to run out. Okay, we've run a filter down for the nitrogen, probably for the oxygen, carbon dioxide, and probably an oxygen one as well. Excellent. So it's just spitting out over here. We've got a little bit of oxygen. Oh, reasonable bit of nitrogen. We've got the tanks up the top there. And of course, we've got a crap ton of CO2, which I'm actually having to vent back out again because I got too much of it. But anyway, what we want to do is get our LArRE to be checking our filters and changing our filters as need be. So I've got a filter maker, also known as a pipe bender. So we'll be wanting to see if filters are missing. Instead of carrying a stock of filters here, I'm just going to make them on demand. Well, that's the plan anyway. So I shall need to be able to check these, see which one has run out, get the printer to print the one it needs, pick it up here, and then put it in there and get rid of the old one over here. I don't know what to do with the old ones yet, but we'll just dump them out on the floor over here because I don't think LArRE can drop stuff on the floor. So we'll just chuck it into that bin there. Now these bins are a bit untidy at the moment here because to access these things, LArRE's got to be up reasonably high, which means these things have got to be up reasonably high as well. I probably could have run the rail a bit better and get it to turn around and get to them, but it's a test setup, so it's a bit messy. Get over it. I've got a ton of iron in here at the moment. Well, 500 grams is almost a ton. Not really, not even close to a ton. Okay, so I've got not even close to a ton of iron in there, which will produce about 100 filters before that runs out. So that's pretty good to go at the moment. But other than that, everything is set up. I shouldn't need to do anything with the filters. I should just be able to do it all from LArRE. Right. But that should be all I need. So I guess we get into the programming part of it now. I've got a chip which has got stuff on it for something. Mustn't be important. Can't remember what it is. Okay. Edit. Eventually. Get one computer. Okay. Get rid of you. Don't need you anymore. Okay, so on this one, we are going to need to access the printer and LArRE. So alias the LArRE, we'll put you onto D0 for the chip, and alias the printer to D1, although I won't be needing that for a little while. Probably I'll need to use the drop-off bin. Yeah. Alias the dump bin to dump bin to D2. That should be all we need for our devices. Right. From that, export you into the chip. And did that work at all? Oh, you're going to the filtration. Don't go to the filtrations. Go to the IC housing. Stupid. Export that. And we've got it. Okay. So now what we want to do with this one here, I guess the first thing I really want to do is just check and see if any of them need a filter replacing. So we'll go with, we'll try and form our program by, we'll come back to the start as often as we can. I like my programs to run all the way through. You get some people who will put a program just into an infinite loop until you find a reason to break that loop, then move into another infinite loop until you break that loop and eventually go back to the start. I like my programs to run all the way through by default and look for a reason to repeat part of that program. It's just different, people have different thinking there. Neither is right, neither is wrong. It's just different ways of thinking. So I shall start with, well, start. Yep, put a lot of thought into that. And we'll have our obligatory yield there. Now the yield just makes it wait for one game tick. So I don't want this code running 100 times every game tick because all of the devices only get updated once every game tick. So running the code 100 times will just read the same thing from them 100 times. So yeah, I'll just put in a yield. We'll run it once every game tick, and that's all it has to do. It just puts a little bit less load on the processors and helps out your frame rates. So I guess we have the data hooked up on all of these, so I could just batch read to all of them. There it is, isolated through a transformer, so it's not going to read anywhere else in the base. So I could just put a batch read onto the filters, so I'll need to define my filtration for the batch read. Filter to filtration. That'll be you, not the kit. The actual filtration. Cool, gotcha. That'll be you. Okay, so we shall. Now we've got to read the slots. So load into R0 from. Oh, sorry. Load batch slot into R0 from the device hatch, which is the filter. The slot index will be 0 because I can't read from both of them at the same time. The type shall be the quantity. Yeah, nice spelling. Put your fingers on the right keys. Quantity. Now batch read, that'll just give us a percentage from how full it is, and we shall take the minimum. Because if any of them are 0, we want to know what the lowest one is, because that's the one that's going to have to be replaced. And I shall just, well, copy that one into R1, read slot 1. So we're checking both slots from all of the filters, and, well, I guess it's just a minimum. Oops, minimum. Either of them will copy, reuse R0, the minimum of R0 or R1. So it doesn't matter if any filter in any slot reaches 0, put that into R0. And okay, so now if none of them need replacing, there's no need to go any further, so we can just go back to the start. So we shall say set a greater than 0 if R0, let's try branch, shall we? Because we want to branch, we want to do something. Branch greater than 0. If R0 is greater than 0, go back to the start. There's nothing more to do. Do we have a not equal? Not equal to 0. Okay. bnez. Not equal to 0. Branch not equal to 0. Go back to the start. So if none of them need replacing, no need to do any more. Go back to the start and wait a bit longer. Okay, so if we're still running down the program, one of them does need replacing. So I need to move LArRE out of its hidey hole into the stations and check the filters until it finds the one that needs replacing. So I'm going to need a station number, aren't I? And probably a slot number as well. So I can, if I've set them up as variables using registers, I'll be able to change them. So I shall, once again, alias our station number to just say R10. I don't use them. Usually only 1, 2, and 3 I keep using in my programs. I just reuse them for anything. So R10 I can pretty safely just alias to something else because I will need to use it later in the program. And alias the slot to R11, I guess. Okay, so I'll need to know them. So now we're going to have to go through and find that one. So I am going to have to, let's think about this one here. I'm going to have to find the filter. Once I've found the filter, I'm going to have to know what sort it is and have it to print it. So I need to print the filter. And after I've done that, I'll need to insert it. So I'll know where it is. Yeah, it should be all right. Replace the filter. Okay, that sounds like a plan. Now, how the hell am I going to do it? Okay, so I think once we're down here, I will need to increase the station number. We're going to have to move LArRE. We're going to have to move LArRE. So we have found out before that we know we have to create a procedure to move LArRE and just get LArRE to wait. So I shall put in a wait function, which will just be a yield and load into R0 from LArRE. It's idle. Yes. So we shall, so idle goes to 1. So we shall, yes, we'll just put this into a loop and go back. So we shall, let's just say branch equal to 0. So if it's not idle, wait a bit longer. R0, wait a bit longer. If it's not equal to 0, which means it is idle, jump back to the return address. So when we call the wait, we've got to call it with a jump and link, JAL. All right, so that's something we're going to have to do. We've learnt that on the previous LArRE script, so let's just get that one out of the way right now rather than having to rewrite it later. Okay, so that's out of the way. You need to move the LArRE. So I'm going to have to change the station number. Now we've learned from last time, once again, we learn things. We know that if your station number goes beyond the number of stations that are actually there, it will be able to keep operating. But to find out whether or not it has gone beyond that, if a station is going to say station 20, LArRE knows that if there's only 5 of them there, it'll be back to station 1. So we will check Larry, find out what station number it's on, and then put that number into the station number we've got here. So if we go beyond the bounds of the actual number of stations there, it'll fix that for us. Right, so we shall load into R0. This will be our first check on that one. From Larry, it is the setting. Let's actually have a look and not guess. That might be a better way of doing it. So that is you. Position. Or setting. Let's say setting. Oh, we did say setting. Oh, well done, Mick. Good to see you remembered that. Right. Well, I don't need to check it. I can just override it every time. Yeah. So if we move into the station number R0, I don't need to check it. Just put it in there. If it's the same, it's the same. If it's different, then it updates it. Yeah, that makes it easier. Right, so we know our setting is within the bounds of what Larry can actually get there. Not that it makes any difference, but it's there for the OCD, you know. We do that around here occasionally, all the time. Right, so Larry knows. So now we can increase it. So we add station will equal station plus 1. Easy. Move to the next station. And then we save to Larry. Larry. Now we use the setting to the station. And now what we prepared earlier, wait for Larry to get there. Okay. So that should have Larry moving through sections, and we get down to here, and we should just put our jump to the start down there, and that should allow us to do that. Right. Let's see if that works. I think I should be able to export that and run it now. If I actually connect up the items to it. That wrong button. That one might work. So I needed a Larry to that one. It's cargo Larry, isn't it? C. No. What are you called? Larry. He's called Larry. Yeah. Strange about that. Larry dock cargo, not carry Larry, cargo Larry lock. I'll forget it. I need the printer, which we're not trying to actually use that at the moment, so I probably don't need to hook it up. It's called a hydraulic pipe bender, and the bin, which is the export bin. Import bin. Import bin. What do you... Oh, it's called shoot import bin. Shut up. Right, switch you on. It does need replacing, so it should... Oh, it knows what it's looking at too. That is very cool. Now, it is going over these things here. Oh, you don't go back to the start. Oh, does it only do that when it's in a loop? Goes back to the start. Oh, that makes it a lot harder. So I'm going to tell it how many docks I've got now, don't I? Oh, that sounds like hard work. Okay. Got 6 docks now. So, checking our station number there, we've got to know when it gets to the end. So we shall define max station there as 6. Okay, so we move to station, we load 0. What are we doing now? So we move to station. Oh, we loaded the set, we moved, right, okay, so that little doodad there is not going to work for us. So I need to know if the station, okay, so we shall say set greater than, so set R0 if station is greater than the maximum station. Max, spell it right, station. Right, if it's greater than that, we shall now set up our select. We say base select, select station based on R0. If R0 is true, it is greater than the max station. We want to reset it to 0. If it is not greater than the maximum station, we shall just keep the value in station. Export. Let's now come back to the start and go through them all. And eventually get there. Oh, okay, it went back to 1 because I've said, is it greater than the max station? And then add 1. Watch out if it's equal to the maximum station, and then I've got to set it back to 0. Yeah, so you've stopped there now. Yep. Set equal. Now you should go back to the start. And back you go. Should come back to, well, we set it to 0 and then add 1. That could be a problem. Yeah, that's going to be a problem. I've got to swap that around. I've got to add 1 to the station. So if I just cut you out, put you up there, then we can say set greater than. So now if we increase it and it goes beyond the maximum length, then it'll go back to 0 and LArRE will move there. That is what we want it to do. Export you. Oh yeah, I don't have anything there, so it should get to the last one. Then come right back to the dock. Oh, they go back to negative stations, don't they, when you have them out the other side. So if someone set this up weird, if I put the dock in the middle here somewhere there, that'll be a bit weird. Should go back to the dock. Okay, so let's define a minimum station as well, just in case people have set this up a little bit odd. So that's pretty easy. We just got to say define, because these are going to be constants. Minimum station. For us here today, it is 0 min station. So all we need to do is change that one there to minimum station. Okay, so that one should set that one to doing the right thing. but that is just doing it. So we needed to stop here and check both filters. So it's got to stop here, check filter 1, check filter 2, and if they are 0, it's got to move on to printing a code. So we say it's got to come in, it's got to change the station, it's got to check the slot 0 and then check and not move and check slot 1. So we put in a little loop there to check both of them and then move on. So I'd have to come back to, I can't come back to the start from there. Or if I check, can I set up a loop? If I set up a loop, because I'm going to have to, so we are finding the filters. We've got to change station. Issue. We've got to change the station. And now we have to check the filter. Check the slots. So I will need to, I've got my slot set, so I can just loop it by saying, set, if I just say set equal to 0, slot. So if slot is equal to 0, true, slot becomes 1. If slot is equal to 1, it's not equal to 0, false, it goes back to 0. So that'll just be a flip-flop between 1 and 0 of the slots. So each time I come through, it will change between 0 and 1. Right, so I just need to repeat that, because then I can check the slot, so I've got to use it. So I can use a proxy slot on LArRE. So if I change that, whatever that's called, that's called an on power open setting activate. I change you to 1. Oh, target slot index. Okay, target slot index. That's what that one will be. Right, target slot index 2. Okay, right. So now I just need to save to LArRE. Target slot index slot. So that'll do that one. Then I've just got a load slot from LArRE, the proxy slot, which is slot 255. Whether or not the filter is quantity, I think we said it was. Quantity, okay. So now we load slot from LArRE. The proxy slot is 255. Load into R0, thank you. Slot index, which is 255. We are looking for the quantity from the filter that it's targeting. If that's not 0, we go back to the start and we move to the next one there. So we shall branch not equal to 0. It's just not equal to 0. There we go. So if R0 is not equal to 0, go back to the start and it moves to the next station. I want to change the slot first. So I have to put a loop. And I don't need to put a loop in here. The slot will be 0 or 1. If I don't want it to move, the slot will be 0. Check slot 0. If I add, instead of adding 1, if I add the slot to that one, it checks slot 0, goes back to the start, it adds 0 to the station number, it stays in the same spot, and then it changes the slot to 1, checks the second slot, goes back to the start, adds 1 to the station number, where it moves again, changes the slot back to 0, and then doesn't move the next time. Well, that's too easy. That can't be right. Okay. So if I say that, so if it's not equal to 0, go back to the start. If it's still here, it's found a filter which needs to be replaced. So let's just save. So we'll load into R0 from LArRE. Load slot into R0 from LArRE, the proxy slot. The it's occupant hash. Occupant hash. Yes, it is, and I can save to the DB housing the setting R0. Right. Confirm. Yep. Export you. Now it should stop once it finds one that needs replacing. You're not finding anything that needs replacing. I have got that wrong. Oh, no, there's nothing to stop it. It just keeps moving on. So let's grab you. Try you. Yoink you into there, and we say you can just do the IC housing. That'll just be groovy, baby. You've got to the end and you've stopped. Okay. I'm guessing that has got to here and said there is no slot 2, you dumbass. Okay, so I need to check and make sure we're looking at an atmospherics as well. That might be a bit of a way to do it. Now, does that have any way of knowing what it is looking at? Oh, we have a target prefab hash. That's filter. That is yoink 3 filter. Okay, target prefab hash. Prehab. Prehab fat. Why am I bothering to talk today? Prefab hash. Target prefab hash. So I have the filtration one there. So before we check anything, change station. Wait, check slot. Before we check the slot, let's just have a look. So we shall load into R0 from LArRE, the target prefab hash. We shall branch not equal. I don't have a branch not equal. Oh, branch not NE. Okay, right, don't need the Q. So branch not equal if R0 is not equal to the filter, go back to the start and move to the next station. Once it goes back to the start, it'll just increase our station again and move on. Assuming our slot is not 0, which it shouldn't be, because it's moved to a new station, so slot is 1. It's not the right machine, so move back, slot should still be 1. Okay, we should be safe. unless you're just starting out. So I might have to have a something at the start here to set that up. So move slot 1. Yeah, that was it. So it knows that's not it, so just move straight on. It knows that oxygen thing needs replacing. It knows the CO2 needs replacing. It knows the nitrogen needs replacing. And that one should not. No volatiles. Volatiles are good. Okay, so that looks like it is finding what we want. Now we're just got to stop and replace it. So if it finds it, I shouldn't go back to the start from then. We should just follow the loop right through to the end just with a heap of wait states. Now I have to get it to print out. When it finds one, we want it to print out what it's got to do. Right. So we're pretty confident we have checked the slot. We have found the filter. Now we've got to print the filter. So we're pretty happy that we've made it this far successfully. Okay, so we now need to say, tell the printer to print it, don't I? So I've got to save to the printer the finally the pipe bender. It'll be a I go past it. There we go. I'll need to have a recipe hash, probably. Okay. Save printer. Recipe hash. I guess I'll need to find out what it is first, won't I? So I'll need to load from LArRE. I already have found out what it is. I just found out there. Quantity. No, I didn't. I found out here. So let's get rid of that and jump below that because we have found it and set it to R0. So it should now set the printer to that one. I should probably update that printer so I can see it on the screen. It's insulation, oxygen filter, carbon dioxide filter. Okay. So that's doing good. So now I'll probably want to jump. Once it gets to here, let's just say we're jumping to, we'll jump to the end of the program. Let's just put one in here. End. So it'll just jump straight to the end and not do anything else. So it should stop once it finds something that it needs to do. Yeah, you don't need to change that one. Back to the start. Should get to the oxygen one and then it should just stop there because the program doesn't have anything more to do. And right, knows it's got an oxygen. It set that to oxygen and she stopped. Okay, so now I just need it to print that. So I activate. Sure. I need to print one. If I just say activate, it might keep printing them. or we can use the new stuff that I really don't remember. Right. Where are we? Because we can put into these via the, oops, where is it? Via the stack on that one, I can tell it to print a single thing. Stack pointer, operation code. So I need to print execute recipe quantity prefab hash. So I should be able to send it that commode, and it should print that out for us. Now, I have had a couple of goes at trying to create a video about this, and it just turned into complete gibberish. So let's have a quick run at that one. Okay, so this is what we are going to have to save into the stack. I'm going to need the operational code, which is to execute a recipe, which is code 2. I'm going to want the quantity. I'm going to want to print out one of them, and I'll need the prefab hash, which I have just read from the hand. Now I know all those things. So what I now need to do is code this into a 64-bit value, which gets passed to the printer stack. Now, I'm probably not going to go into the detail about how we do it, so we'll just have a very quick rundown of it here. So I need to put in, okay, so first we're going to have a prefab hash. There's a number of ways to do this. They're all confusing, but I am going to have a bit of a go at it. So we don't want to set the recipe hash on the printer. Well, we can set the recipe hash on the printer and then watch the output and check the counter on that and then switch it off if you want. But let's see if we can use the stack on that one there. So I shall need to say, well, we've got the, let's just say we've got R0. R0 has the occupant hash, which is what we needed, which is the third thing we needed. So we're going to use a bitwise command here, which is shift logically left. So R0 equals R0, which we shift logically left by 8 bits. Confusing, but that's what we're going to do. So basically it just takes because it's a bitwise command, it's not really a numerical value, so we've just got to shift them all to the left by 8 bits. And now the next 8 bits are going to be for the quantity that we want it to print. So all I need to do to that is add to R0 the quantity that we want to print, which is 1. So now I need to put in front of that the command, which was 2, which was to print or execute the printer instruction. So from that, we once again shift logically left by 8 bits, which gives us another 8 bits to write the next value into, and we add into the printer instruction 2, which is to execute the instruction. So what's in R0 should now be the right value. I need to print 1 of whatever the filter was, or I've just got it wrong. They're both right. Now I know this is confusing. I'll try and get to a video to explaining that, but as I say, they've all just turned into absolute gibberish so far. So I've still got to do it. I'll get around to it one day, eventually, perhaps. But it does hurt your brain doing that one, so don't be too disappointed if it's too hard to do. But that's what I'm going to have a go at here. If it's too hard for me to do, then I'll go back and do it the other way. So now I need to save that into the printer stack, which I think we had with a put command. Was that it? Put. Using the provided device attempts to write the provided to the stack at the provided address. Okay. So was that 0 or 1 for the first address? Anyway, so we shall put into the printer the address first, which is, if we put down 0, if it's wrong, it'll soon tell us, and R0. It should print us out one of those. Holy shit. Oh, and it did print out one. Holy shit, it worked. I mean, of course it worked. I had complete confidence in that. That was not the first time I've ever done that. Anyway. Okay, so we've printed it out. We have found it. Let's just sort you up. Okay. So we now print it out. I need to now go back and get it. Oh, so I'll need to know the I'll need to define the oops. The what do we call them? Pickup point and define the dump point. Okay, so pickup point I think is just 1. Yeah. And the dump point over here is 6. So we sort of go, we've got to go to station 1 to pick it up, and we've got to go to station 6 to dump the old one. Now, oh, you don't have a hopper on you, do you? You are just a hand. You're not as evolved as the gardening Larry. So I'll need to pick that one out, throw it away, collect the new one, and put it in. Yeah. Okay, so we have got this far. We know what it is. It's printed it. So I now need to dump the filter. Let's say I need to dump the filter. So I shall say save LArRE activate 1 and wait for Larry to do that. Once you've done that, we save to Larry, setting the dump spot, and wait for him to do that. And we shall want to save to Larry activate again. And wait for Larry to do that again. So now Larry has dumped it. We now need to replace the filter. Oh, which I've already got a tag for that one. Just pretend that's not there. Let's keep you, because you're handy to have. After we found it, let's just put you after that one. Yep, that'll do fine. Now, where are we? So we need to replace the filter. So from there, I need to go to the pickup slot. So save to Larry, the pickup, did I call it? Pickup, setting, dumbass. Setting pickup, and once again to wait till it gets there. It should have printed, but what if it hasn't printed? Yeah. I'll check if the printer is still active. Or I can, if it's not active, I need to go back to, shit. I could just say wait. It'll just wait to yield. No, that won't work. It should have had time to print. Let's just pretend it has had time to print. We'll worry about that later, because waiting till later has never been a problem before. Right, so we shall save to LArRE activate 1 and wait for you to do that. Well, now I just need to go back to the station that was missing, don't I? No, I already know what that is. I save to LArRE setting station, and the slot should still be the same. Okay, wait for you to do that and save. I spelled S wrong. Save LArRE activate 1 and wait. And now LArRE should have replaced that filter. No, I've done too much there. There has to be a mistake in that somewhere. Where are you? You're sitting there. I'm going to dump that. Which you have done. That one's there ready for you. And place that one. Oh, I did it. And that's pretty much all it needs to do. So I can go back straight back to start now from there, can't I? All right. So there is a filter that needs replacing. It's not in there. That's not a filter. Back to the start. Stops at the station. It realises that there's no filter below it, so that's just silly. And moves on to here. We should realise that that one's not a filter. Move on to the next one. There's a filter missing. Printer filter, which is an oxygen filter. And in the time it goes to dump that one off, the printer is finished. You could put a wait state on there for the printer. LArRE's pretty slow, so probably not a big issue. So you should pick that one up there, and I think the CO2 one is run out as well. Oh shit, you didn't drop it. Oh, so you're going to put it back in now, of course. I've got to put in a trigger for that one. Sorry. You put it back in there, haven't you? Yeah. Right. Oh, you swapped them over. Oh, okay. So that's one I've got to check for. If there's anything in LArRE's hand, go to the dump and chuck it away. And remember to activate that thing whenever you dump it. There we go. Okay, so things have got to change there. So whenever it dumps something, I have to save to the bin. Dump, activate, wait, and save to the bin. Open. Do I close it? I don't know on that one. To open as one.
Trader vessel incoming.
Okay, so I close it. Seriously, you actually finally found some plants for me. That's been ages. I bet there's no seeds in there. You don't have any strawberries. Well, you suck.
Trader vessel landed.
Go away. Right, so that has dumped. So we have dumped our seed and gotten rid of it there. Now, I want to sort of say, it's not a seed, it's a filter. So now it is clearing that bin once it dumps something. So at the start, I probably want to say, I need to clear the hand, don't I? So I shall load into R0 from... Do I need to do it there? I don't need to do it there. I can do that once I get down to here. Because it should only be going to the start when it is... When it picks up filters and stuff, it should be down here. It should only go back to the start when its hand should be empty. So I shall load into R0 from LArRE the hand slot. Oops. LArRE cargo. We have the hand, which is slot 0. I don't have my slot commands there, which is probably an occupied, we'll say. LArRE load slot from LArRE slot 0, which was the hand, and we'll say occupied. Right. So it is, if it is occupied, I'll just say we'll branch to a dump. So we shall branch equal to, so if R0 equals 1, it is occupied, go to the dump, which we haven't defined yet. So we'll put a dump down the bottom here as well as another function. Dump. Right, and for that, well, basically we've already done that up here, haven't we? So I want to go to there, set it to dump, activate it, and close the bin. And we'll need to grab our weight in between each of them. Right, so move to the dump point, wait, activate, wait, close the bin, and jump back to the start. Start. Right. That's our first one there. So if there's something in the hand, go dump it in the bin before you do anything else. And then we can start looking for filters. Now, if I export you, give you a filter. Where are you? There you are. Give you a filter. Now you should go and dump that as the first thing you do. Got nothing in there. We're good. All right, switch you on. Now we should dump that and spit it out. Why aren't you doing that? Weird. Okay. Why aren't you dumping stuff into there? Found a new one. We dump that. You are an empty one. You dumped it that time. It was because I put it in there deliberately. You didn't pick it up yourself. Is that the problem? Fine. Be like that. We have a CO2 filter in there. New one. Take and put in. Then I think it's the oxygen filter. No, that one's good. Oh, they're all good. It has replaced them all. So now it just stops. Because all the filters have been replaced, so it just stops. Okay. LArRE is replacing all my things and just printing them on demand. So as long as I keep that stocked up with iron, LArRE will look after all of my filters for me. Filters, they're filters. Remember that, they're filters. But yeah, that's apart from this weird printer code there, that is not too bad. I thought that was going to be a lot harder than that. I must have missed something, but there it is. That's pretty cool. So it will pick up any sort of filter because it checks what's there and just prints the same kind of filter. So if you've got heavy filters, it'll replace them with heavy filters. Just make sure you've got the materials in there for the heavy filters. The heavy filters might take a long time to print, so you might want to get LArRE to do that. Now, if I pull out a cartridge, it tries to replace it. So I need to say something that if that's occupied, go back to this. If that's not occupied, go back to the start. Because now it's going to try and replace it, and it's not sending the printer a command to go print one. So it'll just keep on trying to replace it. Right, so what I need to do is say now, so check the slot. If it's a filter, LArRE slot, quantity. Okay. Right, so if it is, quantity is 0. That means the filter is either out or missing. So if I load slot from LArRE, load slot into R0. Let's see how wrong I can get, how many mistakes I can make in one line. Slot 255 occupied. And we'll say a branch equal to 0. So if it is not occupied, go back to the start and move on to the next one. Or just do whatever you're doing there. Yeah, live your best life there, LArRE. Now it should see that one, realise that the filter is missing. It's not run out, it's missing, and just move on to the next one. Because it is missing, so it believes one is empty. It just means that it should just keep running backwards and forwards until it finds the one that's reading 0. Now keep going. Don't stop at that one. Ah, there we go. Now put it in, he should stop moving. There we go. Now that's good. That solved that problem. Right, so what else can we do funny with it? As I say, you may need to put a wait state on the printer. Or just wait till the bins. Oh, I'd have to put that into logic as well. Wait till there's something. If you find a filter that's missing, you send the command to the printer. Oh, but then you've already dumped the filter, haven't you? Maybe you should wait till the printer is finished before it actually drops the filter in the bin. Well, I'll figure that one out later. But I think that's probably done. Hit our goals for today. A few spare ones there. Right. Larry's looking after our filters. I built this whole base there because I hated changing filters. So I built this whole base where it didn't need to change filters, and now I don't need to change filters. Yay! I'll have to change filters on other worlds there. I can only get away with Mars with no filters. But yeah, these ones we will have to change them, so we can do it now, and I don't have to do any of that manual labour garbage. Now Larry does need a bit of height above the filtration systems to actually change them. I've not been able to do that in a very neat way. And these ones you probably put on the wall behind it and get Larry to rotate and grab those ones out. Or I think you can put Larry under the ground. So you could put a duct underneath the ground and have Larry actually reach up into the filters from underneath. Although you can't stick the filters within unless there's a frame there. Grr. So you can put down all your filters, then pull out the frames and put in a duct underneath and put your Larry in there just upside down. That might be the neatest way to do it all. So then you put these things on the ground, these on the ground, and have Larry access everything from underneath. But I'm not going to mess around with that today. That's something you can sort out in your own base design. That's not for me to say. But anyway, that's the filter changing Larry. I think it's working. I'm pretty happy with that. So I may mess around with the wait state on that one, but yeah, not today. That's about all we got for today, so till next time, happy building. See ya.